Welcome to the show, everyone. Thank you so much for being with us. As always, we want to remind you to like, share, subscribe on whatever platform you're watching. Just do all the things. We would really very much appreciate it. We get a great show for you. We're going to continue our coverage of the developments out of Minneapolis, Minnesota. ICE is now being targeted. We've got, assemblies of people, mobs of people. I don't know. Depends on what your political persuasion is as to, or is it an assembly? Is it a mob? But yeah, ICE agents are being, pushed and shoved around. They are at risk. And we also now have the guy who shot the lady, Renee Good, in defense of himself because he was going to be hit by the car. Was hit by the car, in fact. His identity has now been released. I'm not going to say his name, but leftists have already found out who he is. And so now his entire family is obviously being threatened. J.D. Vance gave an incredible press conference today. We have a little bit of that for you. But we're going to start today with Jimmy Kimmel going on his late-night talk show and holding up a T-shirt that says, Donald J. Trump is going to kill you. Also, Tim Walz, the governor of Minnesota, saying, essentially comparing the situation to the Civil War. So everything we said yesterday about this potentially being the moment that history looks back, the data point where a new Civil War starts, it's certainly not less true than it was yesterday. In fact, the evidence is now suggesting that it's more true, but we still don't know. We're going to talk about all of this. I have my friend Eric Haynes in seat number 2 today. Rob could not make it today, but we're going to go on, and the show starts right now.
The Paul Harrell Program.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, as always, really appreciate you being with us. Eric Haynes, thank you, sir, for being with us once again.
Hey, sir. Great to be part of the conversation. Sorry I missed it yesterday.
It's all right. I know you were trying. It's really strange. It's actually good for me in terms of it's worked out, but your schedule has kept you from being on the show. Rob's schedule has kept him from being on the show, but never at the same time.
Yeah.
And so I've always had somebody in seat number 2, but we haven't had like the full 3 seats, and we actually have a 4th seat if we need it. We haven't had all 3 of us together, I don't know, since before Christmas at this point. So
we'll all get our heads together soon, I'm sure.
Yeah, hopefully that's going to be remedied on Monday, so we'll see. But anyway, yeah, the situation is getting ridiculous, but it's all expected. We all know this. This is the same left that obviously celebrated the death of Charlie Kirk, and they are, as I said yesterday, if we're going to stick to the Civil War analogy, they've certainly made up their minds that they have the moral high ground, that they're right. We've made up our minds that we have the moral high ground. But to them, this is about one of their soldiers was killed yesterday, and it doesn't matter what video angle. It doesn't matter, what their own eyes may show them. There's this girl on TikTok who's from our home state of Arkansas. She's a leftist. And, her stuff shows up in my feed sometimes. And it was just, it's just one of those things. You're living in a completely different reality, the way she's describing it. They're trying to normalize this. And the thing is, it has been normal. It's always been normal that if you take a car and you drive it towards a police officer, you're going to get shot. There are countless examples of this happening, and those examples are all on video. Yesterday, we showed where it didn't work out for the officer, and he actually got hit, and then the lady got shot by the partner. This is not complicated stuff. It is only about politics, and as you and I, Eric, were talking off air, it is a mighty coincidence that all of this was going on yesterday, while you had whistleblowers in the House of Representatives testifying that Tim Walz knew about the Somali fraud and has known about it for a very long time and has used intimidation tactics to silence people in Minnesota that he knew it was going on.
It was absolutely wild that the timing was what it was, and seeing the commentary afterwards. This thing... Hollywood knows that we don't. I think as a society we've let Hollywood know that we don't care about their politics and that we wish they would shut up. So I don't. give Jimmy Kimmel 2 ounces of my attention, really. Now, what's frustrating for me is that I was raised by parents who absolutely loved Johnny Carson. And on special nights when I would get to stay up late or stuff like that, I would go in and watch Johnny Carson with my dad. So I know what late night or that entertainment, late night TV shows could be, but man, are we a far cry from that now, where this is what comes up on late night entertainment TV.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. I mean, it's par for the course, because once again we have somebody being killed and Jimmy Kimmel inserting himself essentially, the first time essentially, trying to blame MAGA on all of this. Is what he intuited when Charlie Kirk was assassinated. Now we have another person dead, and he inserts himself, and it's always to incite the left. And essentially all of this does is put more people in danger. I mean, I've heard people say, look, the fact of the matter is, yes, this woman was a leftist, she was gay, but in a lot of ways she was brainwashed into thinking that it's okay to go and interfere in a federal operation, that this is somehow okay, that you're not. First of all, that's a crime to interfere in the law enforcement federal government, to do what these people are doing, blockading. That's a crime. She tried to flee. That's a felony, as I said yesterday. And then, of course, we know the slow motion. By the way, on the actual breakdown of that video, one of the things I missed yesterday, if you really slow it down, the front tire actually slips and spins when she starts to accelerate. Which means, so I've seen 2 things. I've seen Tim Pool break that down, which was that video was very telling. So if you put yourself in the officer's shoes, in order for that tire to slip, there had to be an acceleration. Like the engine would have had to have revved. He would have heard that, right? He would have also heard the tire slip as well. Then you've got Crowder, who did a reenactment, and how, in terms of people saying, well, the tires are pointed one way or another way. Well, from the officer's point of view, you can't tell where the tires are pointed. Mm-mm. If you put yourself in front of a car
where he was standing,
where that officer was standing, you don't know which way. All you do is you see the cars moving forward, you hear the tires slip, you hear the engine rev, and that's why he did what he did.
Not to mention that exact guy has had the experience of getting dragged by a car before.
Yes, so. And we're going to get to that here in a minute, but you're exactly right. But here's Jimmy Kimmel stoking the flames of violence yesterday.
They're trying out a new slogan. Donald J. Trump is going to kill you. It's pretty good, right? This maniac, he isn't just killing people overseas. An ICE agent today shot and killed an unarmed 37-year-old woman during an ICE operation in Minneapolis. They're there under the guise of protecting us. And of course, our president weighed in with compassion. He wrote, "I've just viewed the clip of the event which took place in Minneapolis. It is a horrible thing to watch. The woman screaming was obviously a professional agitator. And the woman driving the car, this is the woman who was killed, was very disorderly, obstructing and resisting, who then violently, willfully, and viciously ran over the ICE officer who seems to have shot her in self-defense." Now,
so obviously Trump's statement there about actually being run over, the left's going to capitalize on anything like that, and that's just the way Trump is on social media. But the fact of the matter is, this guy was struck with the car, and if you really look at the breakdown, you can't drive towards an officer.
Right.
You can't do it. You're going to get shot every single time, period, end of sentence. And this reaction, as we talked about yesterday, is because, like what you were saying off air, we've waited so long to do anything about the lawlessness.
Right. Nobody put a stop to anything for years and years and years. And everyone just turned the other cheek, so to speak, and people died. People died in Missouri. People died in Wisconsin. People died in Texas. People died in lots of places that they shouldn't have, because no one stopped the incitement of violence and the ratcheting up of the rhetoric of the far left, pushing this dehumanization narrative of everybody's the Gestapo, everybody's a Nazi, everybody's a fascist that doesn't agree with me. And once you go that far, you're to the point to where those people do not even deserve to live. And then you're willing to do things like kill them, or ram them with your car or whatever. There's no limits. And so we've got to put a stop to it.
This woman was from out of state. Before we get there, in kind of keeping with this is Tim Walz today. Listen.
Our history, when things looked really bleak, it was Minnesota's first that held that line for the nation on that July 3rd, 1863. And I think now we may be in that moment that the nation's looking to us to hold the line on democracy. Our history.
So strange.
This guy is an absolute joke. And I watched that entire press conference today. I had a long drive today, and unfortunately took the time. I do not recommend it to people because it'll just make you sick watching him talk the same language that he's talked for the longest time about how ICE is the problem. Get out of my state. We don't want you here. And it's all a deflection. Like I mentioned just a minute ago, it's a great deflection for him right now because it takes attention away from the fraud and abuse that he's absolutely a part of. And like you mentioned earlier, at the same time this press conference, or the same time everything was going on yesterday with the shooting, in the House, the Oversight Committee was interviewing a panel, and state representatives from the state of Minnesota were standing up under oath saying not only was Governor Tim Walz aware of this Somali fraud and abuse for years, but that he swept it under the rug, and anyone coming forward with information about it or that wanted to get it stopped, he would go after them. And they felt scared, and they had to keep their mouth shut because of it. That little clip right there is as disgusting of a clip in an entire press conference of nonsense today. It was absolutely gross.
Aaron McIntyre saying he's openly invoking the Civil War, which when I said at the opening of the show that we were talking about will what happened kick off a civil war. I know it's the winter of love now, not the summer of love potentially. So the cold weather, and it was a white woman and not a black man. So that could affect the turnout of the protests or potentially how violent it gets. But now we have Tim Walz openly invoking 1863 in Minnesota here. And also,
I'm just going to say this, too, from a personal perspective of watching him today, too. He's looking pretty old and disheveled at this point.
Yep.
I think this year is going to age him about 25 years.
Oh, it is, because there's people saying that he may be in handcuffs before long. Not because of him invoking the Civil War thing, although that is, who knows what he'll actually do with the Minnesota National Guard. He hasn't actually done anything yet. He's just put out a notice. But they're saying that, not only did he know about the fraud, he enabled it, and there was potential financial kickbacks. And I'll just mention that after Kamala Harris selected him as the vice presidential candidate, Nick Shirley has reported that Tim Walz raised $30 million for the campaign in a single day.
The Somalis gave him a kickback of the money that he stole from the state and the federal government?
That is now the allegation. The allegation is
disgusting.
That Tim Walz was able to raise that gargantuan amount of money in a single day just from getting the nod is because it went out. All the Somalis, the entire fraud apparatus of
that's a huge voting block
of Minnesota was like, oh, this is our guy.
Yeah,
he's not only giving us all this free money and generational wealth, to immigrants. But now he'll be in the White House and can continue in the largesse, the amount. It'll just continue to flow in even larger numbers. That's the allegation, and so we're going to wait and see if that happens. If he does,
so sad that just as a side note that it takes a 23-year-old YouTuber to be able to expose that and to talk about that. I hadn't heard anybody else say that. Did you?
Nope, I haven't.
No,
haven't heard a soul say anything about that. So what's changed from yesterday to today? Well, we do know the identity. We've already mentioned Rebecca Good. If you could have any better of a name, there are psychological manipulations that take place, based on when they killed the fascist Nazi ICE agents killed a lady named Rebecca Good. right? You can't have a better name than that. I mean, I guess you could have like, righteous. If her name was Righteous Citizen, that might be an even better name for something like this. But in terms of a name that would be good for propaganda and that sort of thing, Rebecca Good, certainly a great last name there to incentivize people to think that what happened to her, that she didn't instigate, and she is the cause of her actual death by her own actions, starting with blockading of federal law enforcement, attempting to flee, and then running into. I mean, how many leftists have? This is the thing I said yesterday. So great that we have X, so great that we have all these other angles. We now have the critical angle where the officer was struck before the shot was fired. You have all of that, but how many leftists haven't even seen it? Now, many of them won't care if they do see it. They're not going to change their mind. But I feel like there's a lot that have not even seen that other angle.
It was such a great point that you guys made yesterday about how Elon Musk saving and buying Twitter, X, in a lot of cases saved our country, and certainly saved media in general, because we would have never seen all of this without that. All that stuff would have been, the media narrative would have already been struck, and the mainstream media would have already gone with that like crazy if we hadn't seen all these angles because of X.
New York Post reporting Renee Nicole Good's sobbing wife, who claimed Minneapolis ICE shooting was, quote, my fault, revealed. So there's now audio of her, quote, wife, end quote, saying, this was my fault. There was clearly some level of organization to be there, to film, to blockade. People are coordinating. Yeah. They are getting their marching orders from somewhere, or maybe amongst themselves. But there's clearly an organization here.
Yeah.
And it's just like what we said. Somebody in these riots during the Summer of Love, the burn, loot, murder, Summer of Love, somebody was dropping off the pallets of bricks. Somebody was instigating, and just like we saw last year with the LA riots, somebody was buying all of those shields that were handing out to the protesters because they didn't want ICE coming into their territory. So somebody is funding all of this, and those people that are funding it need to be prosecuted for inciting violence. This goes right along with what we're talking about. This is messy. People are. Some people are really worried. Most of them on the left, maybe some people in the center. But it's because they don't understand that when you are lawless for such a extended period of time, in order to fix it, it's going to be swift. It's going to be severe, because the lawlessness has been so severe. I mean, it's just cause and effect at this point. Here is J.D. Vance, Eric Daugherty saying. Holy crap, J.D. Vance is livid. Let's take a listen to what he said during his press conference.
When I was actually walking out here, somebody sent me a photo of a CNN headline about what happened in Minneapolis. And this is the headline. I'm just going to read it. Outrage after ICE officer kills U.S. citizen in Minneapolis. Well, that's one way to put it, and that is the way that many people in the corporate media have put this attack over the last 24 hours. And I say attack very, very intentionally, because this was an attack on federal law enforcement. This was an attack on law and order. This was an attack on the American people. The way that the media, by and large, has reported this story has been an absolute disgrace, and it puts our law enforcement officers at risk every single day. What that headline leaves out is the fact that that very ICE officer nearly had his life ended, dragged by a car 6 months ago, 33 stitches in his leg. So you think maybe he's a little bit sensitive about somebody ramming him with an automobile? What that headline leaves out is that that woman was there to interfere with a legitimate law enforcement operation in the United States of America. What that headline leaves out is that that woman is part of a broader left-wing network to attack, to dox, to assault, and to make it impossible for our ICE officers to do their job. If the media wants to tell the truth, they ought to tell the truth that a group of left-wing radicals have been working tirelessly, sometimes using domestic terror techniques, to try to make it impossible for the President of the United States to do what the American people elected him to do, which is enforce our immigration laws. The President stands with ICE. I stand with ICE. We stand with all of our law enforcement officers. And part of that is recognizing that you people in the media, not everybody in this room, but many people in this room have been lying about this attack. She was trying to ram this guy with her car. He shot back. He defended himself. He's already been seriously wounded in law enforcement operations before, and everybody who's been repeating the lie that this is some innocent woman who was out for a drive in Minneapolis when a law enforcement officer shot at her, you should be ashamed of yourselves. Every single one of you.
I think that's one of the defining moments of his vice presidency, honestly.
Absolutely. Good for him.
It was good. Now, you listened to the entire thing. Are there any more? I don't have any. I've got one more clip of it, of him announcing assistant attorney general to investigate the fraud, but that's a little later. What else did he say, if you can remember anything?
Well, the great thing about it, too, is after he finished a few minutes, this was kind of towards the end there. Actually, no, he started with this. This was his first 2 minutes. He did a couple more bits of conversation there, and then he took questions. And he took questions for a while. And it reinforced the openness and transparency of this administration. But he answered questions objectively and to media that was not happy about this situation, and tried a couple of gotcha questions. I don't think there was anything other that was that truly came out of it that was just like on fire moments like this one was. But this was great.
Yeah.
It was a good press conference.
I agree. From what I have seen of it, very good. Mike Cernovich saying there's no way to reach these people. We either govern them with great Christian love or they murder everyone and destroy the entire country. Now, in this instance, a Christian worldview would say we have to have laws. We have to enforce those laws for the good of our neighbors who are not lawless, who are not anarchists, who are not communist revolutionaries. Who are not brainwashed by the woke sex religion. How many times does this have to come up where it is interesting? I mean, we talk about the trans violence that occurs, and the jury is still out on, the alleged Charlie Kirk assassin, in terms of what his connections were to the trans, I know he had a trans boyfriend, that sort of thing. Or, you have other people who are furries or that sort of thing. But here's a situation where the person's not trans, but a part of the LGBT RSTL, would you like to buy a Val enclave, and she is one of these radicals as well, who's actively trying to stop. Honestly, what this is about is stopping the results of an election.
Yeah,
and we talk. You just go win. If you want to change the laws. Go win elections.
Well, I think Cernovich is right too. There is no way to reach these people, and that's sad. We should be able to have conversation. I would say that I have open dialogue with a few people that are pretty hard left, but you just get to a point to where it's like, all right, I'm fighting an uphill battle just to get you to even agree on the little things now. You've gone so far, you're so radicalized, and I think of radicalization as terrorist only, but no, there's a radicalization of the left-wing folks in this country that started with disagreements on, easy topics like taxes and abortion and whatever else. And now they've dehumanized everyone else who has any disagreements with them, and it's coming to war.
And they think we're dehumanizing them. They don't care just because
but this is the year of enough is enough.
I know this is the year of enough is enough, but that's what they think we're doing to them. That's what's so frustrating about it. To Cernovich's point here, because we can sit here and say, man, I wish that girl, I wish that woman, I wish Renee Good. I disagree with Renee Good, but I wish she hadn't died yesterday.
Totally, I wish he had jumped out of the way.
Yeah,
I thought that when I first saw the video, I have an unbiased perspective because I hadn't talked to you guys yet. I hadn't seen anything on the media yet. I just saw the video pop up on my feed, and I looked at it. I was like, oh no, I really wish he had gotten out of the way. It seems like she was trying to just get out of there, but the more and more you find out about it, and the more you realize that, look, he was trying to get you out of the car to arrest you. You'd been doing this all day long. Mm-hmm. You'd been antagonizing them all day long, getting in the way, blocking traffic. Those guys were done. They were just trying to leave. It wasn't like they were in the middle of something, with a family member of hers. They had already done what they needed to do. They were trying to leave that block. Mm-hmm. They were trying to drive away.
Yeah, and that's the thing, though. But on the flip side, when Charlie Kirk died, they celebrated. They celebrated. So many on the left celebrated. I'm not celebrating that this lady is dead. I'm not celebrating it at all. But I will say that she inserted herself in a situation. She drove a weapon, a 2-ton or however 4-ton. I don't know how much that SUV weighed, towards an officer. That's a weapon. When I first saw it, my initial reaction was justified immediately. Now, that's only because I've seen a lot of X videos of that exact same scenario. I have seen so many. I mean, it's my algorithm.
It's 100 now. I think the data came out today that there have now been 98 or 99 incidents of people ramming ICE agents with cars.
Yeah.
So
no, I just mean I just mean regular law enforcement.
Oh, right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I have seen so many officers shoot somebody through their windshield when they drove a car their way. And I guess I watched one, and the algorithm just keeps pumping them in. I'm just talking about over a year, several years period. I have seen so many. So I immediately saw the video, and then I saw the second angle, and I was like, oh no, she actually hit him with the car before he even drew his weapon. Or it was simultaneous. And now we find out. Let's go ahead and get to that. Let me see if I can.
And this is why people like Jimmy Kimmel and Maxine Waters and Chuck Schumer and AOC and Ayanna Pressley and all these people need to just shut up, because they're at fault here.
Their entire worlds are about to unravel in so many other ways, though. They're going to latch onto this as much as they can. But yeah, here is the CBS News Minnesota report. From how many months ago was this guy dragged 300 feet with stitches?
Like 6 months.
Agents pulled him over. Court documents say he repeatedly refused to comply before a federal agent took out his spring-loaded window punch with his right hand and broke the driver's side rear window. These images show the officer's hand in the vehicle. In this video, you can see the driver take off with the agent hanging from the car, dragging him 300 feet through front yards. These graphic images show the aftermath. A bloody agent who needed 33 stitches for his significant cuts. Agents pulled him.
So that guy who's had this problem before had enough. And it doesn't matter that he had enough, by the way, like, oh, well, I see he's prone to do it. No, that doesn't matter, because she drove her car in his direction, and that is, you cannot do that. You cannot do that. Again,
they're there to do their job.
The talk for liberal white women.
It's like you and Rob were saying yesterday. If you have a problem with these guys being there, then, change the law. But they're there to do their job.
Yeah.
And, I mean, not to mention, look at some of the rap sheets of some of the guys that they've arrested up there in Minneapolis. The pedophile that they arrested yesterday morning early, before all this took place, I can't even talk about the things that are on his rap sheet that he's been convicted of in the past and is an illegal immigrant here in this country and should be gone. That's what those guys are up there doing. That's who those guys are going after.
We see
They're
now.
not going after Rebecca Good.
Yeah, this was 8 a.m. Yeah, but what an effective propaganda. Obviously, I think generally us on the right, we're correct. We have the moral high ground. They think they're the moral high ground. Okay. So from that basis, that's my viewpoint. What an effective propaganda it is to convince, liberal white women that they're foot soldiers.
Yeah.
And they need to go out and obstruct federal law enforcement and put their lives at risk. I don't think it actually ever computed with them that they're putting their lives at risk when you do something like this, because you never know what's going to happen. You never know what somebody else is going to do. Because the possibility, always exists. This was 8 a.m. this morning.
Yeah. That guy that was just taken away a while ago, you could see him spitting on officers earlier this morning.
Now, have we decided that we're going to put them out there as targets? Let's see where this goes here a second. And some of the audio, just for the folks at home, we don't want it to be too abrasive, and that's why we're kind of riding this a little bit. The summer of
I just want to go on record.
See the snowballs hitting that agent right there beside the guy with the camera?
Yeah. Many want it to be too abrasive, and that's why we're kind of riding this a little bit. The summer of love is hot.
Yeah, right there.
For many reasons, including the temperature. It's cold in Minnesota.
Yeah. Let me just say,
everybody has their First Amendment. I'm so sorry about that.
No, I just think this. I'm looking at the agents with face masks, and I understand why they have face masks on to protect themselves. Also, it's freezing out there, so that's actually a bonus now. But this is the United States of America. I always used to look at the Mexican police, the federales. They all wear masks because they didn't want the drug cartels to know who they really were. And I always used to look at that and think, my goodness, what a third world hellhole that is. And guess what? We've imported the third world, and now we have to imitate their big. And the left is now adopting third world tactics and communist revolutionary tactics out in the open. And so now our men in law enforcement have to cover their faces to protect their families. That alone is insane. If you really think about it, that alone should outrage every single American that this is where we are right now. Yeah. This is how divided we are.
This is downtown Minneapolis.
This is what our politicians have allowed to happen. And do you know why? Because a united populace that's mostly homogenous in their beliefs and quite frankly also their appearance. I mean, if you go look at Switzerland or anything like that, and countries that have the least amount of problems, it's just so frustrating to see this. The more divided you are, the more different belief systems that you have, the easier it is for our politicians to stay in power. The harder it is for us to hold them accountable for what they do. Yeah. So all of this demographic nonsense, all this demographic, great replacement, whatever you want to call it, it is only made it so much harder for us to actually control our government and get more immediate results. And so they like it this way. There are people at the top that like it this way because the more factions you have, the easier it is for those people at the top to stay in power. And so it's just infuriating to me that these people have masks on. I support them having masks to protect themselves, but the fact that they have to, it's disgusting.
Well, guess what, folks in Minneapolis? They are not going away. That was clear today in the press conference by Secretary Kristi Noem. They are not leaving.
No, they're not.
So if you guys want to keep FAFO, go ahead. Because they're there to do a job, and they're doing a great job.
Nick Sorda reporting, for the first time ever, I have had to be evacuated out of an American city. 2 security guards weren't nearly enough to fend off the mob. Minneapolis PD hung up on me, forcing us to run away while being chased by a car. He had a more lengthy post here talking about how the Minneapolis Police Department last night surrendered the city to rogue leftists. 911 heard multiple death threats directed at me by a mob. MPD pretended for 20 minutes that they were responding. Then they told me I was on my own and hung up. Here is that interaction right here.
The location that they can access, they can assist you.
Okay, so they're not coming to this location, correct? I have to go and find them myself.
If you're not going to answer my question, are you going to go to a different location?
I mean, I'm being chased down the road. What do you want from me? I have to go. What location do I need to go to?
You're going to have to go to a different location if you'd like to be. Okay, I'm going to disconnect.
What location do I have to go to?
I mean, they're being told to stand down.
Yeah, their mayor and their governor.
They're talking about using the National Guard against the federal agents. So, I mean, they're.
I didn't see one Memphis PD person there with all the standing.
You mean Minneapolis? You said
Minneapolis. Yeah, sorry. Minneapolis PD officer standing there with all those federal agents giving them any support at all. That's what they should be doing. They should be keeping the peace with those rioters or those protesters so that they could do their job. And instead, they had to. So here's what's funny about this morning. The federal officers are out doing their job. Some of them are having to stay back to protect the facilities where they are, where this protest breaks out and where people are getting crazy with them, spitting on them, throwing stuff on them, all that stuff. ICE had to call agents out of the field to come back to the facility to stand with them to offer additional support. So they had to pull their agents away from areas where they were going and arresting criminals and pedophiles and rapists and murderers who were in this country illegally doing their job as ICE agents. They had to come back to just stand there to protect themselves and each other. That happened today.
So we need way more people there. We need way more personnel on the ground.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, Trump needs to do the Insurrection Act. He needs to start doing it. All right, so here's something that's hilarious about all this. And I say it's hilarious because now that there's all these people in the streets, the left is now making right-wing arguments about the Second Amendment. And there are people cheering this on, and I find this incredibly ironic and also disturbing when both sides are saying the same thing, but for totally different reasons. Like both sides now are wanting the Second Amendment to defend themselves from a tyrannical government. That's what this guy says, tyrannical. But we have completely different values about when it's appropriate to defend yourself. We have different definitions of tyranny.
Yeah.
To some people, law and order is tyranny. To others, it's not. And it's just so frustrating. And you're seeing this now with people compare it to Roseanne Boyland, and it's like, well, she didn't have a weapon. Or people are now, the editor of Christianity Today, Mike Cosper, is trying to say, well, conservatives are such hypocrites because you thought J6 was totally fine, and police needed to be assaulted at J6, but now you've got this problem. It's like, wait a second, you're setting up a straw man here, buddy. That's not at all what they're not even close to the same thing. And it's just disturbing to me when we see this, because I can objectively, it's my opinion and I can back it up. Like, they prosecuted so many J6ers under an Enron statute that was meant for white collar crime and shredding documents. That's what they used, and the Supreme Court of the United States overturned that. They said you cannot use that statute to go after these people. So we have clear-cut evidence that what the government did to those J6ers was actually unjust, and it's why Trump pardoned them, okay? Clear-cut evidence of abuse, lack of due process, all of that, okay? That's not what we have here, but yet both sides are completely divided on it. We are a nation. We are two different nations living under one government, and it is insane right now. It's utterly insane. But listen to this. This is funny to me.
Does anybody know why we're given the Second Amendment right? Google it.
Google it.
Protect ourselves from a tyrannical government. That's true. The police are supposed to be on our side, fighting, pointing their guns at the government. It's the facts. It's not for hunting. It's not for self-defense. It's to protect ourselves from a tyrannical government. It don't get no worse than this.
Oh, yes, it can. Yes, it can get worse than that.
Everybody listens to you.
By the way, he said, it's not for hunting. It's not for self-defense. Well, it is for self-defense. That's what defending yourself against a tyrannical government is all about, self-defense. But isn't that incredible, Eric, that they're making these arguments that sound like right-wing arguments now? Now that the people in charge of the government are not who they want to be.
I don't know who this idiot is. I'll just put him in with the Kimmel camp and just say that he's. You and I talked about comedy. One of the first times I was ever a guest. On your show here, and I would say this gives us a little bit of comedy.
Yeah, a little bit of comic relief.
And I get to laugh at something and enjoy.
Get ready, we got some more comic relief on the way, brother.
See, this is why I love this show.
Yes,
folks. You get to laugh a little bit.
We got more coming up, but before we get to that, let's talk about this. Already enforcing the law, meaning you can't try to murder an ICE officer with your car, has caused. We referenced this yesterday on the show. Has caused this Charlotte communist revolutionary. I believe that's what she is. Let's just call her an agitator. Okay, she now is terrified about continuing to obstruct ICE after this woman was killed yesterday.
All right, you guys, I just watched the video of the woman in Minneapolis. Don't go watch it, okay? If you don't think you can handle it. It is the most frightening thing I have seen in a long time. This woman was driving away in her car, and they put their weapon in there and hit her in the face multiple times.
I don't remember seeing that.
This is not right. This was not self-defense. This was an execution. I am shocked because only a few weeks ago, I was driving around this town that I live in Charlotte, doing very similar things, looking for ICE agents, trying to prevent them from kidnapping people off the street. And there was a lot of other people out there doing that on a daily basis, as is our right to drive around the streets of our city
and obstruct federal operations.
It's frightening right now.
Bless her heart.
Please be peaceful in your protests and don't give them any excuse, because it doesn't look like they need any right now.
So now she's afraid.
This lady doesn't want our pity, but man, I have to give her a lot.
No,
I just feel I feel bad for her. I'm embarrassed for her.
I am too. And as a man, I wish there was a man in her life that would say, hey, honey, like, I need to protect you. Like, please don't put yourself in these positions. Like, this is insane. How many liberal white women are there like this right now all over America that think that it's just insane.
I see the comment up there that maybe she should stop then.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe she should stop then.
Yeah.
She's horrified. Maybe you should stop, because this is
heart.
what happens. If you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes.
Yeah. And as Jack says in that tweet right there, they've never faced consequences before. This is I don't know this lady's background or anything like that, but she's obviously never been held accountable before for any amount of objectivity.
The left hasn't either, and just in general, it's just the left. They haven't really faced consequences. And I'll give you an analogy. Like, so when you had Roe versus Wade get overturned.
Oh yeah.
Oh gosh.
Oh yeah.
Like that was them being told no. When you had they haven't been told no either. In a lot of instances, and it's only just now in the last few years they get told no. Got told no on abortion. Okay, the LGBTQ RSTLNE, which I like to buy a vowel, enclave, they very, very rarely, especially over the last 10 years, got cultural losses. Right? They didn't lose. They won. They got all of this. They got Tucket swimsuits in Target. Right, they got they got all of the bathroom. Go in but whatever bathroom you feel like. Who cares what you're doing to women? And then the society pushes back. And what do you get after that? Society pushes back. We reject it. A lot of this stuff gets dumped, and then you have this wave of terrorism, of murder from trans individuals in particular. And then they lost the election. And the whole country told them no. And we elected a guy who, was a felon or whatever they want to say. They put him back in office. And it's to them, I mean, if you're a therapist right now in blue areas, I mean, you're making a ton of money right now because people are so emotionally, like, I didn't have to go to therapy when Joe Biden won the election. Matter of fact, I thought Joe Biden stole the election. I was very upset about it. But you know what? I continued to, go to work, love my family, go to church. Doing the things that actually matter on a day-to-day basis. But these people get their validation from who the media tells them is a sane person. And if the media tells you that your government is decent all the way through Obama's 8 years, that Hillary Clinton would have been a decent person, that Joe Biden was a decent person, and then the media tells you, oh no, this is unprecedented, Trump is an indecent person and the people around him are indecent, they can't sleep at night. I had no trouble sleeping when Joe Biden was president, but that side does.
Yeah.
And so that's what we're dealing with. We're dealing with a mass psychosis on the other side.
And meanwhile, the devil's on the sidelines just smiling.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Because spiritual warfare is a big part of that as well.
Amen.
As well as mental illness.
Amen. I thought this meme was interesting because it's true. There's a lot of people out there like this sitting on the couch. That agent could have easily jumped out of the way. You have no idea. You have no idea what you're talking about. I will say the Crowder reenactment, he did a reenactment that was so good with a body camera here and with a car, with a gun, and that officer couldn't see anything in terms of the tire movement. All he could do is hear. And then you go watch the Tim Pool analysis. The tire is spinning out on the ice, which means that that lady was accelerating and he would have heard the engine rev. His life was 100% in danger.
Yeah.
100% if you go look at the video.
Yeah, I thought at first, and I tried to stop myself and hold myself accountable for this too, because my first instinct was, God, I wish she was still alive because she could be asked what was in her heart. I wish they had just been able to arrest her and find out what was really in her heart. Were you really trying to run him over? And ask her, but the objective reality is that that didn't matter, and he had no way of knowing either.
You're exactly right. And if she had survived, her intent still wouldn't have mattered.
No.
It still wouldn't have mattered. It would have been a justified shooting either way.
Yeah.
Another Mike Cernovich tweet or post, talking to Democrats is like being in Crazy Town. They created a convoy to block ICE. This is admitted on video with witnesses who were there. This was a conflict initiated by the far left street hooligans, but when something happens, it's never their fault.
Right.
I thought that was apropos. Here's a little comic relief for you. So during the
Passover.
Yeah, they're smearing quality Leering Center signs on their doorposts so that the Minneapolis rioters will pass their businesses over if this does, in fact, get out of hand. I thought this was an excellent meme. Top notch, if you will. I guess we'll make this the meme of the day.
I saw the update that one... I'm not sure if it's this one in particular, but the guy that was most flamboyant and outward about defending his, and the guy that had, the day after the Shirley expose, like after all that came out, he had a parking lot full and ran tons of kids going inside. Mm-hmm. That was shut down yesterday, so that it is closed. Officially closed.
Closed.
The funding went dry.
Yep.
And he said, I can't pay the electric bill.
Didn't he also? We didn't ever play this. Didn't he also hold a press conference and say there was a break-in?
The guy that looked like Diddy.
Yeah, Somali Diddy.
That was a different one, but that's Somali Diddy was the other one.
He did look like Somali Diddy.
They just happened to steal all of our records. Darn.
Oh my gosh! Is there any way? Is there any way?
Well, so
I could find
when they're
this?
brainstorming this before that, did they really think that we were that stupid, or did they just think that they were going to be talking to people like Tim Waltz? Because if they just thought that everybody's like Tim Waltz, their buddy, then I guess.
I can't find the Somali. Is this Somali Diddy?
Yeah. That's Somali Diddy.
I want to get the video though. Where's the video?
Oh, I didn't know there was a video.
Yeah,
I just remember when you guys
conference.
sent me the first picture, I was like, that dude looks like Diddy.
So
the one with the New York.
So Somali Diddy, yeah, he had the New York hat on. I don't know if that's him or not. Hang on, that looks like him. Hang on a second. I want to find this.
Stop.
So
I'm gonna stop now.
Okay. So Somali daycare.
I think Diddy and Maduro are in the same facility right now, right? Just not to deflect too much, but
yeah,
they're in the same facility, right?
There's a lot of This is Somali Diddy.
There he is.
This is him. Hang on. Let me pull this up. Yeah. This is how absolutely dumb they think we are. Hang on. Here we go.
And also, unfortunately, we saw that there was important documentation, enrollment of the children, and also
that poor
employee documentation that was gone. There were also checkbooks that were ripped from our check papers that were ripped from.
So, for those who don't know, this guy
shaking her head like she believes him.
This guy is claiming that his I'm assuming fraudulent daycare got broken into and everything got stolen.
Yeah.
So all the records are gone. So he's basically fine. It'd be like if they outlawed guns and I made a police report like, all my guns got stolen yesterday when they're really buried in the backyard.
Right. See, my safe is empty.
Yeah.
You just feel sorry for
this is
people
devastating
like that.
News. And we don't know why this is targeting our Somali community.
Okay, yeah.
Nobody's targeting your Somali community. Your community was exposed for being the fraudsters and swindlers that you are.
All right, here's the real comic relief. If this were a meme, we'll just make this a new segment. Now it's time for our Black Culture segment of the day.
Oh no!
In the aftermath of the shooting yesterday, there was one black guy filming what was going on, but he wasn't concerned with the girl who had been killed. He was more concerned with the shape of the backside of the ICE agent.
I don't even know how black people is. Phone up, she thick as hell. What are you talking about? I don't even know how black people is. Phone up, she thick as hell.
You know how black people is.
Stop.
So that concludes our Black culture segment of the day. Matter of fact, we're going to, honestly, I'm calling it right now. I'm going to make a video bumper for an actual segment like this. I think it just has to happen now. So
Okay.
where we won't be every day. Every now and then there's going to be a video like this come out that's hilarious. I'm sorry, that's funny. There is no way around that is hilarious to me. May not be funny to you, but it's funny to me.
Everyone in the audience is nursing a hernia right
like
now.
A black culture, now it's time for a black culture segment of the day. And then I hit a button, and we're going to have an animation for it. We're going to get it done. All right. So,
yes.
While all of this is going on yesterday,
this is yesterday now,
and the lady, tragically dies. Okay, Nicole Good, Renee Nicole Good, Nicole Renee Good,
sorry,
or whatever, Renee Nicole Good. We have Congressman Brandon Gill, was questioning witnesses that were there. Some of them whistleblowers. Some of them not whistleblowers. Some of them were clearly
right. It was a mixed panel
on the left.
They had 2 state representatives that were, exposing what was going on.
Listen to this.
Again, thank you for being here. Let me ask you: does large-scale Somali immigration make Minnesota stronger or weaker?
Certainly stronger.
Certainly stronger. Do you know what percentage of Somali-headed households in Minnesota are on food stamps?
No.
54%. Do you know what that number is for native Minnesota-headed households?
Well, to be clear, a majority of the...
It's 7%. There's a big difference between 54% and 7%, is there not?
Excuse me, sir, could I answer the question?
Let me move on. We've got a lot of questions here. What percentage of Somali-headed households in Minnesota are on Medicaid?
I don't know.
It's 73%. Do you know what that number is for Minnesota native households?
Again, you're using the phrase Minnesota native households, but the majority...
The number is 18%. That's quite an astounding difference. I think we would agree.
Can I answer the question?
My man testifying is really triggered by the use of the word native Minnesotans, and I'm 100% here for it.
Please.
Let me ask you one more, and then we can go on to that. What percentage of Somali-headed households are on welfare in general?
I don't know.
It's 81%. What about... let me just ask you, after 10 years of being in the United States, what percentage of Somali immigrant households continue to be on welfare?
I don't know.
The number is 78%. So even after 10 years, 78% of...
So it was 81%, and over 10 years, it's 78%. This is insane.
Those percentages are staggering.
We are being fleeced. We are being treated like second-class citizens. Native-born Americans, native-born Minnesotans. Now, I know what they're going to say. They're going to say, well, these are first-generation Somalis. They're the new generation. They were born in America, so they're native. I'm just going to say it. No, at this point, no, they're not. They're not American in the sense of what American culture is, what traditional American culture is. And the fact that now, we not only are they getting generational wealth through scams, they're also generationally on welfare. That's not American.
And like I mentioned a couple of days ago, when some more of this Medicare, Medicaid fraud comes out from some of this Somali influence, it's going to even blow the lid off even farther.
Yeah.
Because 81%, 73%. Those clinics that Nick Shirley went to, he didn't just go to daycares and learning centers. He went to healthcare centers.
Leering centers.
Leering centers. He went to healthcare clinics where he was denied even coming in the door because those docs and whoever are those providers in those healthcare clinics, they're not seeing patients.
I wonder what they're actually doing.
Their doors aren't open. They're not doing anything. They're billing codes, and they're getting reimbursed by a fraudulent system.
That's exactly right.
And they're billing CPT codes and DRGs and whatever else they can get through the Medicaid, Medicare system in Minnesota, and nobody is holding them accountable for that. And the ones that tried for years were shot down by Tim Walz and his cronies and told to be quiet because that's their voting bloc.
And we have a dead state representative last year after she voted against a Democrat.
So more videos are going to come out about the healthcare side of this thing too, and that it's way bigger, or just as infuriating as the Leering centers and daycare centers.
Will it be double the GDP of Somalia? Because it's already surpassed the GDP of Somalia right now, the total fraud.
Everything that's being said today is that $9 billion is just the tipping point, or is just the tip of the iceberg. Yeah. That it's many billions of dollars over the course of a fairly short period of time.
So in response to this, J.D. Vance announced this.
What is that going on there? Is that normal?
Oh, that was hilarious. Okay. It just kept clicking.
CNN installed this broken camera just to throw me off my game, but it's not going to work. So here's the simple fact here. If you're a young parent struggling to afford childcare in the United States of America, there are programs that we have to make it easier for your kids to get in daycare, for your kids to get in preschool. Those programs should go to American citizens, not be defrauded by Somali immigrants and others. Make it hard for you to get the access to the resources you need. But number two, making it easier for people who shouldn't even be in this country to fleece the United States and our taxpayers to begin with. We have actually activated a major interagency task force to make it possible to get to the heart of this fraud. We have Department of Agriculture resources that are focused on SNAP fraud so that people who need food benefits can get them, but illegal aliens and other fraudsters don't. We have over 1,500 subpoenas that the Department of Justice has issued to get to the heart of the fraud ring. We've done almost 100 indictments, mostly Somali immigrants, but also a few others. And of course, we're looking in with broad investigatory authority to a number of the instances of wrongdoing that we've seen in Minneapolis. But we also want to expand this. We know that the fraud isn't just happening in Minneapolis, it's also happening in states like Ohio. It's happening in states like California. And so what we're doing in order to help coordinate this remarkable interagency effort from the Trump administration, but also to make sure that we prosecute the bad guys and do it as swiftly and efficiently as possible, is we are creating a new Assistant Attorney General position who will have nationwide jurisdiction over the issue of fraud. Now, of course, that person's efforts will start and focus primarily in Minnesota, but it is going to be a nationwide effort because, unfortunately, the American people have been defrauded in a very nationwide way.
More power to them. I hope they operate swiftly. I hope we have indictments, in the next month. That's what I hope.
Yeah, he said after that part there that he's already spoken with Leader Thune, and they're going to get that person confirmed through the Senate very quickly. The difference in having an assistant attorney general with actual power versus just a special prosecutor is that they can do a whole lot more as an assistant attorney general than just a special prosecutor like, what's his name, Jack Smith.
Yeah. Who should be in handcuffs in jail himself.
Yeah, absolutely. They're going to be able to have the full weight of the government and have some actual power. And that person will have gone through Senate confirmation. So they'll have a lot more weight behind there.
Here is Nick Shirley, the famous YouTuber that ended Tim Walz's political career. He went to Greenland to see how they feel about becoming a territory or a part of the United States in some official, capacity.
I'm here in Greenland. This kid's got a MAGA hat on. What's your message to Donald Trump?
Fight Queensland. Fight Queensland. Fight Queensland. Fight Queensland. No more Danish. No more Danish. We don't like Danish people.
So that reminded me of this famous Hong Kong, when Hong Kong in Trump's first administration was being taken over by the Chinese.
We need independence.
Yeah. And what's your message to? Have you seen Donald Trump? Do you think he should step in?
Donald Trump don't trust China. China is asshole.
I don't know if anyone's ever heard from that man again.
No, he's in a gulag. Every person he ever met is dead.
In all seriousness, we got a minute left.
Or has been unalived.
It's being reported by a few accounts that President Trump is considering paying Greenlanders up to $100,000 per person to leave Denmark and join the United States. I guess Reuters is reporting that. Now, I retweeted this. This is going to make, if that's true, that's going to make the base so angry. And maybe we should all immigrate to Greenland real quick so we can get that 100K. Honestly, if the two options are this, if I was just given only two, and it was this or invasion, why don't we just pick invasion if we have to have Greenland? which I think we do need Greenland probably because of the strategic importance. I'm not dismissing those arguments, but
did you see how many layers of clothes those kids had on?
Oh, I know.
They were in that interview. I don't want Greenland. No thanks. You're leaving.
But find
You're
a way
leaving,
to do
huh?
it. Find a way to do it without paying every citizen $100,000 while we get $2,000 checks. I mean, come on, man. That's a midterm disaster. Eric Haynes, I appreciate you being with us,
this
sir.
was fun.
It's always great to have you on the show. Hope you have a great weekend. Folks, we're going to wrap things up. I want to give a shout-out to our sponsors, Red Vive Health. Go to redvivehealth.org/Paul. Save 40% off of red light panels. New Horizon Real Estate, Gateway Sight and Sound, T-Guard Bail Bonds, Sherrod Chiropractic. We really appreciate it. Can't do the show without you. That is all the time that we have. We will see you guys on Monday.